Have you ever noticed that some of the people who love you the most can also be the people who make you question yourself? Not because they're trying to hurt you. Sometimes they're just trying to protect you. Sometimes they're afraid you'll fail. And sometimes they're simply more comfortable with the version of you they've always known than the version that you're becoming. I know that feeling all too well because I lived it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back or welcome to the Priceless Opinion. If you're new here, I'm Janet, and every week we explore life through stories, perspective, and fragrance, because sometimes a fragrance reminds us of something our heart already knew. A few weeks ago, I talked about moving forward, but today I want to talk about something that has to happen before we can even start to think about moving forward. Sometimes we have to stop living the life someone else imagined for us. When I was 21 years old, my grandparents moved from New York to Virginia. And at that time, I didn't understand why. 9/11 had just happened. They retired and they said, we're moving. I didn't want to be in Virginia. I had just finished college, was, coming into my own, and here we go, moving to Virginia. Looking back, though, I realized I wasn't following my own path. I was following a path that had been chosen for me. And I don't say that with any bitterness. 21 years old, just graduating from college. What did I know? But sometimes the people who love us make decisions based on what they believe is best for everybody. And eventually, each one of us reaches a point where we have to decide, am I living the life I was called to live or the life that someone else expects that I'm supposed to live? About 10 years later, that moment that I just mentioned was my clarity moment. I remember thinking, I have to move. Not because I hated Virginia, not because I was running away or I didn't love my family, but because I finally realized I couldn't discover my purpose while I was living inside someone else's expectations. The amazing part, once I made that decision, everything started to fall in place. Within days, doors just became open for me. When I made the decision to move, I interviewed for a job, and within 24 hours, I got the offer. They provided me with a relocation package, and I felt that God has simply been waiting for me to just take the first step. The door was open. He was just waiting for me to walk through that door. But here's something I don't think that we talk about enough. Just because something is right doesn't mean everyone around you will celebrate it. Some of my family told me not to go. They reminded me that I was a single mother. They reminded me that I had multiple sclerosis. They reminded me that I needed family nearby because what happens when my son gets out of school early and I need to pick him up, but I'm at work? Or what happens if I get sick and I'm in the hospital? And for a moment, I started believing them. Then I called my aunt, and I will never forget what she said. You better move. Then my uncle said, you can always come home. Live your life. And sometimes all you need is that voice of encouragement, because it becomes louder than the voices in your head of doubt. And that's exactly what I did. I moved. Moving didn't magically solve everything, though, right? In fact, within months of moving, I had 2 MS flare-ups, and family had to come and help me. There were moments when I questioned everything. I wondered, maybe they were right. Those self-doubts started coming. Maybe I wasn't supposed to leave. But looking back, I realized something. It wasn't my circumstances that were pulling me backwards. It was my focus. I had stopped focusing on why I moved. I started focusing on everyone else's fears. And the fear was convincing me that the temporary struggle that I was going through meant that I made the wrong decision. But that wasn't true. Sometimes growth feels uncomfortable because we've never been there before. Once I got through that, another thing that I realized is that my family was still there for me. Yes, they didn't want me to move, but when I needed them, they were there. So it was just the self-doubt, the fear. And I read a book a long time ago that said all fear is false evidence appearing real. And that's what I had to remind myself. And that's why I've been reaching for my fragrance of the week. Gentle Fluidity Gold. The name has always fascinated me. It's gentle fluidity, right? Neither word is about force. Neither word is about rushing. They're about allowing yourself to become. And so when I wear this fake fragrance, I don't think about perfection. I think about peace. To me, oh, it smells so good. But to me, it smells warm, elegant, and quietly confident. It has a note of vanilla in it that kind of wraps you. So when you need that comfort, the musk is like a clean feeling. It also has, I think, juniper in it that's bright. And it reminded me that light always finds its way back in. It doesn't always demand attention. It simply becomes a part of you. And honestly, that's how I think purpose works too. Purpose rarely arrives with fireworks. It just grows quietly, one decision at a time. Someone said something to me recently that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. Self-determined action creates self-determination. I'm going to say that again. Self-determined action creates self-determination. At first, I thought, shouldn't determination come first? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't wake up one morning feeling fear or fearless. I became more confident because I kept taking the next step, even when I was uncertain. Sometimes we're waiting to feel ready to act, but maybe readiness isn't the beginning. Maybe action is. So the determination doesn't come first. It's the self-determined action that we're doing that creates that. So let me leave you with this. Is there a dream, a decision, or maybe even a version of yourself that you've been putting on hold because someone else's fear has become your own? Your husband's fear. Hey, you shouldn't, go for that job. Or your child's fear. Hey, you shouldn't do this. Family's fear. Hey, you shouldn't do that. If there is, maybe you're watching this because this is your reminder that your purpose was never meant to fit inside someone else's expectation. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If this conversation encouraged you, I'd love for you to subscribe and join me each week as we explore life, perspective, and fragrances together. Until next time, stay priceless.